Tales from the Middle East. The Tale of St. George's Dragon. From Lebanon. Father Hannah was a simple God-fearing curate in a little Christian village of Lebanon. He had been a shoemaker, and because he was the only one of the elder residents of the village who could read and write, he was taken away from his shoemaker's bench and ordained to priesthood. The limit of his clerical learning, however, was reached with the recitation of the liturgy, the Pater Noster, and the Credo. But he was prone to exaggeration, which made up for his deficiency in theology, and he often left a vivid impression on his pious congregation. Now the chief of the village had a brilliant son, Elias, who was sent by his parents to a boarding school in Beirut. When Elias came back for his summer vacations, Father Hannah noticed that he never attended church, although when he was younger, before he had gone to the boarding school, he had been a constant attendant. The priest was grieved at heart at the boy's retrogression, not only for the sake of his soul's salvation, but because of his example before other boys of the village. So one day Father Hannah accosted Elias on the street, and, cornering him so he couldn't escape, remonstrated with him warmly. "My son," said the priest, "why don't you come to church any more? I fear learning has turned you into an unbeliever." The youth made one excuse after another, only to be met by a silencing argument from the priest. At last he blurted out, "To tell you the truth, Father, I don't go to church any more because I cannot stand your exaggerations." "Is that all, my son?" replied Father Hannah meekly. "Oh, bless your heart! You know that I never went to any school but that of the village, and my father took me to help him in the shop when I was hardly 11 years of age. If I exaggerate, it is in good faith, for I know no better. Since you now have so much learning, why don't you come to church and give me a hint when I exaggerate, so that I may correct myself?" The young man gladly accepted the suggestion of the priest, and on the following Sunday went to church and took a seat in the very first row, just in front of the sacristy. And it happened that it was St. George's Day, and Father Hannah took for his sermon the story of St. George and the dragon. And he began, "Blessed children, shall I tell you about St. George's dragon? Its tail alone was as long as from here to Egypt." Then, peering at Elias, he heard him give the signal they had agreed upon. So the priest, knowing he had exaggerated too much for Elias's taste, chose another spot a little closer than Egypt. "If it was not as long as from here to Egypt, at least it was as long as from here to Gaza." Again Elias muttered, "Well, if it was not from here to Gaza, then it was from here to Jerusalem." Elias said. "And if we do not say it was from here from Jerusalem, then from here to Beirut," Father Hannah said. "If not from here to Beirut," Father Hannah said, "then from here to Judea." But Father Hannah had reached the limits of his patience, and under no circumstances was he willing to reduce the dragon's tail any more. "From here to Judea," he said firmly. Father Hannah leaned forward, peering at Elias, and in a gesture of resignation with outturned palms, he said, "My son, do you want St. George's dragon to be without a tail? So be it then, without a tail."